How's it always?
What do you want to be when you grow up? The one question I've dreaded since the first time I was presented with it. The pressure of society to make outrageous amounts of money and excel with an extravagant job is tremendous. In this day and age, the motto, the bigger the better, holds true in many situations. Whether it is a larger amount of money, a bigger truck, or a new lake home, there's always something more to be desired. Now, I'm willing to bet that everyone here eats out at least once every couple of weeks, if not more. That is just the way society has changed. Now, I would be lying if I said the same did not hold true for me. Not only do I eat out, but I also work in the food industry. I work in an industry where it is legal to be paid under minimum wage. According to Lisa Guerin's article, What Service Employees Need to Know, in North Dakota, employees can pay the tipped employees an hourly wage of 67% of the minimum wage, as long as the employee's tips bring the total hourly wage up to the state minimum wage. This ends up to be $4.86 an hour. With the economic struggle that so many people are facing, I believe that the raise of pay for servers is not only needed, but also a necessary action that would fix the problem at hand. I'm going to tell you why employers should not be able to pay their employees less than minimum wage, why that income is not a livable income, and what we can do to fix the problem. First, I'm going to tell you the problem we have. Employers should not be able to pay their employees less than minimum wage. All of us here currently hold or will hold a job in the future. What would you think if your employee tried to pay you less than minimum wage? Waiting on somebody hand and foot is not a very easy task to accomplish. The struggles that come with serving can be very stressful and are not suited for the short temper. While serving, just like any other job out there, obstacles arise without any forewarning. Whether somebody needs a refill, food did not come out correctly, or I need to be in more than one place at one time, there is always something that needs to be done right away. Unfortunately, if there's a problem with the food that is undetectable to the seeing eye, a lot of the blame is taken out on the server's tip. This happens because people in general tend to tip overall based on overall experience. With the wage of servers being so small, tips are what generate most of the income. Essentially, a server can be susceptible to making less money any given day or night because of the fault of another individual. What most people do not understand is that taxes are taken out of not only the server's minuscule wage, but tips as well. The fact is, many people just believe that tips can be pocketed, and that is simply not true. Why is it that employers are allowed to pay servers less than minimum wage? I realize that these employees are being tipped, but that should not mean that they make any less money. In other terms, the server is still working for the company and is expected to perform at the highest of expectations, while making less than $5 an hour. If an establishment is paying an employee roughly 67% of the minimum wage, does that mean the employee should only have to work 67% of their abilities? So instead, maybe the employer will take care of 3 out of 5 of their tables and assign the manager to the other 2. Obviously, this would be a situation that would never work. If an employee was coming off as lazy, not taking care of their tables, or not working to their full potential, they would be fired. There is something that is just not working here. Changes need to be made to help the servers toward a successful life. Now that there is more of an understanding of the problem, I'm going to tell you why this is a problem. The wage that restaurants pay waiters and waitresses is too low to live on. We are coming to a point in our lives where we are planning for the future. Where planning for the future is necessary. Knowing these facts can help to address the problem at hand. Here I'll show you a graph based on the normal minimum wage for employees across the U.S. Notice how the $4.86 wage for North Dakota is less than every other dollar. In the industry that seems to be on the rise, servers are in higher demand than ever. It seems that every other week I see a new restaurant popping up somewhere according to Living Social September 2011 article. dining out. Adult Americans are eating out on an average of just under 5 times a week. The cards just do not seem to add up. The supply and demand of these servers with the amount of people that are going out to eat is through the roof. It should not be up to the person or persons a server is waiting on to determine how much money that particular server will make. The server should not have to hold their breath every time they walk to clean up a table, hoping for a decent tip. According to Glassmeyer's 2013 living wage calculator for North Dakota, last year in North Dakota, the average per capita income was $45,741. In the same sense, the server's wage based on a 40-hour week would be just under $10,000. This is considered to be living under the poverty line in North Dakota. With all expenses taken into account, such as food, medical, housing, and more, all amount of $15,321 earned before taxes by a single adult with no children would be required to survive. That is just for one individual person. Imagine if a spouse or child was in the picture. Here I'm going to show you a graph from the 2009 article, Education's Effect on Income, based on a study produced by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. These salaries listed here are the U.S. national average numbers from 2009, which is the latest available data. Obviously, this graph does not include every position out there, but lists many along the way. It shows everything from the bottom to the top. The one thing that was most intriguing is that serving was actually at the lowest end. To most servers, this would not shock them. In fact, most would probably agree. It just goes to show how underpaid servers actually are. For the labor that is done and the demand that is necessary, it really shows how much the company with their wage disrespects the server. There is just no way possible for someone to live off such a small wage. Tipping is something that is very appreciated but not required in most restaurants. Because it is not required, servers have a tendency to get stiff on multiple occasions during their shift. If a server does not receive a tip from a certain table, only that server will suffer. A coworker not receiving a tip would not affect another person working in the restaurant. Think of it this way. If a cashier at a department store sells an item to someone they're unhappy with, the blame would not fall in the hands of the cashier, but instead the dilemma is actually taken up with the department store itself. So why should the blame for an undercooked steak fall in the hands of the server? The server is just simply doing their job, serving. One of the real problems I see is that people are unaware about how little servers are being paid. They do not realize the wage is so low and the source of income is so highly dependent on what they're being tipped or are being tipped. I do not blame the general population for not knowing this though. The thing is that this shouldn't even be an issue that needs to be discussed. The bottom line is a server is entitled to $7.25 an hour, just as every other occupation out there. Now that you know the problem and the cause, I'm going to tell you a solution to it. To get something done about this problem is something that would not be easy, but with the time and effort, it can be accomplished and be practical. Fixing this problem will help to ensure a better lifestyle for all jobs in North Dakota. It can be changed by just a click of a button. It can't be changed by just a click of a button or a simple signature on paper. The first thing that would need to be done is to present the idea of raising the wage of the tip workers to a representative or senator. I would need to convince this representative that my idea is something they would want to support. One of the main things I would do to achieve this would be to get a petition. Anyone is able to write a bill, but only a member of Congress can actually introduce this idea. That is why it is key to present this in such a way he or she would not be able to turn down. This bill would have to be passed by both the House of Representatives and the Senate. Working as a server is what gives me so much passion about the subject. I see the struggles that myself and other fellow servers go through. It makes me very excited that this is something that can be accomplished. Employers should not be legally allowed to pay these low wages for human beings. For the raise of wages to actually go up would take a tremendous amount of work, but with the hard work and determination I see from not only myself, other servers, and fellow North Dakotans, I believe anything is possible. Now I will go back and I will review everything we have talked about today. Today I have told you why the raise of pay for servers in North Dakota is not only needed, but a necessary action. I have showed you why employers should not be able to pay their employees less than minimum wage, why that income is not a livable income, and what we can do to fix the problem. Raising the wage of waiters and waitresses in North Dakota will help to give them that feeling of living the American dream.